Hey dreamers. I want to talk a little bit about the dream that I have been creating and experiencing for a few years now. And my understanding of how we navigate our experience, how we be the creators of our reality, which, what does that even mean? All right? It means we choose how we align. We choose our direction. We choose our path. We choose what we believe. We choose how we believe our reality works. And that's why limiting beliefs are such powerful blocks, right? When we have a deeply held limiting belief, it can keep us from experiencing really beautiful things. And that's why we do shadow work and things like that, right? To clear up those things. And that's why we do emotional purging and feel our emotions and feel the energies that are tied to those beliefs so that we can move them and transform them and change them, right? So when I say that we are dreaming our reality, it's the idea that we are the I am dreaming our reality. That this is all just happening in the mind of the y'all. This is all just happening in the theoretical mind of God, because obviously God's not a human with a body, with a head and a mind. It's just formless awareness, meditating, imagining all of reality right here, right now, right? All of existence is right here, right now. And we are just experiencing a linear journey. So for the past few years, since my awakening began and I started to dive into consciousness and metaphysics and all those things, I eventually started to come across the law of one material, the raw material. And I learned a lot from Aaron Abke, especially because he just breaks down the law of one, so just makes it very clear, very easy to understand, because it can be a very heavy material to read. It's just very dense, but it is very straightforward. And when we look at the collective dream that humanity is sharing, we can see that healing is very important, because we're healing from all that we are not. If we are infinite love, if that's what we really are, and that is what we really are, then everything that is not love that lives in us, every part of us that doesn't feel love, that feels unworthy, unwanted, abandoned, betrayed, rejected, shameful, disgusting, hated, whatever, none of that is who we really are. That is the trauma that we agreed to take on, the karma we agreed to take on when we began this life, before we began this life, right? Because we incarnated here with purpose, with intention, with a plan. And not just one plan, many, many different paths that we could have chosen. But we are where we are right here, right now. Our path has been what it is, and there are still infinite possibilities in front of us. But in order to find out what your heart actually genuinely wants, we have to do healing work. And that's why the law of one was so powerful for me, because it taught about heart-based consciousness. It taught about discernment through the heart. It taught about healing and balancing the lower three chakras, which are filled with limiting distortions. You know, obviously the root chakra is about survival. It's very heavily tied to fear. The sacral is very heavily tied to guilt and shame, especially sexual. It's related to creative blocks. It's about your pleasure and your desire and how healthy of a relationship you have with those things. The solar plexus is about your personal identity and your will. And so how well do you know yourself? Are you identified solely as the egoic character? Or do you know that you are a soul on a journey? Do you know that you are the eternal self? And do you know what this soul design, this heart, genuinely wants? Because that's how you know how you know yourself. That's how well you know yourself, is if you understand those components of self? And how lost are you in fear and distortion? And how rooted and grounded are you in truth and love? Right? So when I started to learn about the law of one, and I started to learn about how you can heal in this way, I started to direct the dream that way, and I committed to my healing, because committing to my healing was the greatest service that I could do as a human, and I understood that. Because the more that we clear up the illusions, the distortions, the unhealthy parts of us, the detrimental parts of us, the more we can remedy those things and resolve those things. And all of them can be resolved because they are not based in truth. Anything based in illusion can be healed. Anything based in distortion can be healed. Anything based in fear, separation, lack, control, it can be healed within you. We are not a victim in these lives. And we could become more and more and more empowered until we are rooted back in oneness and truth. So I committed to my healing, and that became my journey. That became my life. My life was dedicated to my healing because I knew that if I could heal, then I could remember who I was. And from there, I could choose a life that felt good, from a place that felt authentic. And so that's what really identifying as the dreamer, as the I am, as the one who chooses the life that they live. That's what it means. It means to actually come into a place of authenticity through committing to your healing journey. The more you heal, the more authentic you will be. And the more authentic you are, the easier it is to be in touch with your heart's truest desires. And that makes it easy to choose a life that feels good to you. You know what you want. You know what you want when you do your healing work. And if you don't do your healing work, if you resist it because you're afraid of feeling pain or discomfort, or there are certain things that you're afraid to look at, or you think the truth is too scary, or you're going to find out that you're no good, and none of that's true though. The truth is always more loving than you can perceive right now. Even if you live in a very rooted and loving place, the truth is still more loving than you can even perceive right now. Because love expands infinitely. And God is love. And God is all that's real. And I am one with God, which means I am one with love. Infinite expanding love. That is what I am one with. That is what you are one with. And that's why I cannot stress enough that if you really want to know yourself and you really want to live a beautiful life, and it can be simple. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to be like, oh, I'm going to become a billionaire or whatever, or I'm going to become like a famous person. Like, it doesn't have to be that. It could be very simple, and it can be beautiful, and it could be abundant, and you could be surrounded by loving friends and a loving partner. All of these things are available to us. Infinite possibilities are available to us, but we must be willing to heal. And what I can tell you is that the more you commit to your healing, the more enjoyable your life will become, even if the external circumstances haven't changed that much. You will just be happier. It will be easier to be soft, to be kind, to be gentle with yourself. You won't be so hard on yourself. You won't have that negative relationship with yourself because you're no longer in duality. You're no longer wondering if there's something wrong with you. I know there's nothing wrong with me. There's not one bad thing about me. I am just a beautiful soul, and I can feel it. I don't resist it anymore. I don't question that anymore. I don't question my life path anymore. I don't question the way things happened anymore. I know who I am. And now I am a free dreamer in the dream, creating what feels good to me, aligning with what feels good to me, embracing the infinite possibilities, embracing the magic that exists right here. And that is available to each of us who is willing to make that commitment. I love you guys. And if you're interested in my Becoming the Dreamer course, send me a DM and I will get you info on that. I love you.